Sorry, folks, internet connection. So we've got a period of time that we're coming into now known as the Mercury retrograde. And that is simply a time where we go back in time, where we reflect. Because Mercury is all to do with our thinking, the wiring of our brain, how we process things. So when it goes into retrograde, which is simply an illusion due to the forces and natures of the orbit of the Earth and Mercury, it appears that you are going back in time. And the key thing here is the word reflect and illusion. Because as I mentioned before, illusion equals part of light. And when I think of reflection, I simply think of light bouncing off a mirror and going back to source. So when it comes to a thing of thinking and you going back in time, whether you're going emotional circumstances, when you're going back to deal with contracts, when you're going back to redo something you've done, you have to remember that you're not going to stay stuck in the past. And that is not the idea. The idea is simply for you to go back so that you can deal with the issue in the past and bounce off that mirror going forward into the future. But a lot of people, unfortunately, especially where it comes to love, you ladies, when Mercury does go retrograde, you catch feelings that you're not necessarily meant to catch because you're not understanding what's going on. So you think that what you are going back to is the best thing, but it's not necessarily the case. And obviously, it may be so at times. It is absolute when it comes to retrogrades. And people, i.e. myself, were actually born during Mercury retrograde. So you have to account for that as well. There are some people who have Mercury retrograde in their chart. I'm one of them. So you go back in time to deal with things. And it could simply be because you never had closure. You never closed things in the right way. Or you built calm you have in the right way. This is the opportunity that Mercury retrograde affords. So you have to bear in mind that you are going to the past simply so that you can go to the future. Speaking of the past and the future, I'm sure you can hear my future. I have kids. So I know that when it comes to Mercury and retrograde, not only am I thinking about myself and my past and therefore my future, but I'm also thinking about my children and the future, like this as a collective. Us in the past, future. What are we going to benefit from during this season of Mercury retrograde? And we have a few opportunities in a year to do this. The retrograde illusion happens a few times a year. And because it is an illusion, it is not real. So however you feel during a retro, whether you are feeling strong feelings of somebody in the past, whether you are simply reflecting and being, what's the word, pensive. There's another word I'm thinking of. When you're thinking of the past. Anyway, Mercury retrograde. So when you are, I'm going to be thinking about that word now. But the past, you must not dwell on it. You have to know that you have gone back to meet it so that you can deal with it in a better way than prior to that occasion. This is a gift because we all know that time doesn't stop and it doesn't move back. But because of this illusion, we are met with the past. It appears that the past has caught up with us or we have caught up with it. So are we going to do things better this time around? Or are we simply going to repeat the cycle? Now, if you had not known this before watching this, you would have had experiences of redoing things, repeating cycles, and you've probably scratched your head and wondered why the same thing keeps happening time and time again. It's probably because you have had many opportunities to redo things and to improve on the last time. Yet because you haven't, you are simply because as I game this life, we all know in video games you cannot achieve a certain level You cannot go up a level. You have to do and complete that level in order to proceed. This is your life. So always bear that in mind. When you are having a retrograde feeling, whatever planet that may be, whatever point that may be, because your nodes may be retrograde too. And that's when you are, again, catching up with the past. Whether you are meeting people, situations, circumstances, karma, you name it. But if you're actually going through life with your head up rather than down, being conscious of what you will know, for example, that for the next month you'll be faced with things that seem eerily similar to what you faced before. And now that you know Mercury is in retrograde, you can actually do those things you were meant to do before because you've been afforded a chance to. So just take it as a gift and just know that you are not going crazy. You are not delusional. You are simply experiencing an illusion that takes you back to your past to deal with people, things, and places. So that's all. And if you'd like information on how this retrograde will be affecting you and your own personal life, just hit up www.galeos.guru. That's GALEOS.guru. Peace.